Hello, my name is Carla, and we're going to talk about how oil has been affected with the COVID-19 pandemic in Ecuador and in the rest of the world. Petroleum is known as the black gold. Many countries and people live by it, and Ecuador is one of the main exporters of crude oil for a 58%. And in this pie chart, we can see the countries that they export to. They also export bananas, fish, shrimp, coffee, and cocoa. And in this chart, we can see the exportation values. When COVID-19 started, oil started to be affected not only in Ecuador, but also in many different parts of the world. It happened something similar to a domino effect. When one country drops and the other also drops. For example, when Russia and Saudi Arabia dropped Ecuador in 2014, the oil price crashed and affected the whole country. Ecuador did not mostly recover, according to the political scientist Tia Riofrancos.
Oil prices have been weak for all of 2020, in part because of the shale energy revolution in America, but also in part to slow global growth. It's a problem we've had since late 2014. Since late 2016, there was a mitigation strategy in place by OPEC members, plus a few more key producers like Russia and Mexico. What's new?
Also, Nigeria's oil accounts were over 60% of the government income, which this means that they were fighting for making a debt present of $70 billion payments in a year. Also, Iraq planned on covering 95% of its budget with oil revenues. Then a surprise happened on a Tuesday evening. Oil prices crashed, and the barrel was below $20. This was something historic. It affected most of the world. Many companies closed, valves were no longer working, and many important companies came bankrupt. Ecuador most of the time has faced economic crisis, but as I said before, they export bananas, fish, and the most important to me, flowers. These flowers that you see in the pictures, these are flowers that we have in my house, and these are the flowers that they export to other countries. Another really important thing is that when the valves close and there's not more oil production, there is a lot of money flowing and they were losing a lot of money. For example, the demand was higher than the supply and everything started to drop. People were having a lot of debts by having the oil in their valves, and it was really hard for them to keep it because no one was buying it. And if there's no oil, so gasoline. If there is no oil, then gasoline, it's not either working. And a lot of important companies, for example, Avianca, it had a lot of problems and it got with bankrupt, and other airlines also. Gasoline stations were closed, and when everything started, a lot of countries like the United States, parts of Spain, started to bring up their prices for gasoline, and this started to have a lot of trouble with the countries. But nowadays the oil prices is coming back to its place, and probably people wish that everything's going back to normal.